Hi everybody. So today I want to talk about one aspect of discovery-based selling. And it's one that I think a lot of us in sales really want to spend some time thinking about. And that is when you're in front of a prospect and you have a wonderful relationship and they're responding and you're having a great conversation and it looks like all the buying signals are there and they're going to move ahead, and you wrap up the call, the sales call or the meeting, and you realize that this person who has spent a good amount of time, maybe an hour, maybe more, with you, asking you questions, answering your questions, really getting into a dialogue, now has to leave this great meeting and all that energy and all that trust that was established and all that relationship that was established, and has to go sell your solution internally to people who haven't had that benefit of being in the room with you. So what happens? Typically, you'll send a proposal, and the person that met with you will take that proposal and will bring it to the decision maker, their boss perhaps, or other stakeholders in an organization. And typically, the bigger the sale, the bigger the initiative, it's more consultative, you're going to have more people involved. And most of the time, you, the seller, will not have access to those people. So guess what? You have to rely on your prospect to champion that solution that you spent so much time working on and represent that proposal that you put together to their people inside their own organization. So guess what happens? Typically, you got your 5, 10, whatever, however big your proposal is, page proposal, they're going to go talk about that. And you know what page everyone's going to look at? You guessed it, the last page, right? The one with the price. And I'm being a little facetious, but that you got the drill. They weren't there. So how do we enable our buyer who went through that whole discovery process, that's the discovery-based selling, where they discovered your value? How can you empower that buyer to go do the same thing where the people they're talking to will discover the same value? And I'm going to recommend 3 things. Number 1, in the meeting, when you're with your prospect, tell a real compelling story. So you might want to have that going into the meeting ahead of time. But either way, if you're accustomed to telling stories, and storytelling and selling these days is really crucial, tell a story that either you're going to ask that prospect to repeat, or you're just going to know because it was so compelling they're going to repeat that story. And so that's going to provide the listener in their own company to go through a similar process they went through when they heard that story. And that's the first element of discovery-based selling, where through the story they're discovering the value that you provide. The second thing is, I recommend maybe at that last page, because you know that's what everyone's looking at, that has the pricing, have something like 3 questions. Have a heading that says, here are 3 questions that everyone reading this proposal should ask. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out what those questions are. I've got a couple of examples, or at least one example. So one example would be, one question to ask is, what is the return on investment? Second question to ask might be, where else has this initiative or this solution worked or been successful? In other words, looking for some references. And I'll leave it up to you what the third question might be. But that's what I'm suggesting you put in your proposal, because then you don't have to rely on your buyer or your prospect to remember what those questions were. They're printed in black and white. Now, I had this entire dialogue with my ghostwriter. I'm writing a book on workability. Selling Workability is the title. And Virginia and I, my ghostwriter, were talking about this and including this in the book. And here's a little kind of heads up, and that's why I'm doing this vlog for you. But as we were going through our own discovery of how to represent that, I called in my director of marketing, Rebecca Toomey. And she actually came up with the third piece. She made this recommendation. And I just happen to have her right here. She's walking by.
Hey. Oh, hey, Charles. Oh, hey.
And so say hi to Rebecca.
Hi, guys.
And Rebecca came up with this wonderful idea, which was put in the proposal the expected results. And I'm going to let you talk about that since it was your idea.
Well, actually, the idea came from you, Charles. This is something that you guys have been practicing for a long time, but it's something that I think is important to add to this, and that is in your proposals to have a what is the client going to get out of it? What is the outcome? What is the benefit? And so I have a proposal here from yesterday that I put together for a speaking proposal for you to speak. And the return on investment, well, the way that I put it on here is value proposition and return on investment. So what is this service going to provide? What is it going to do for the people that are on the other side of your speaking, right? The audience. And you're going to produce breakthrough results. They're going to gain access to a powerful way of selling. They're going to grow professionally, et cetera, et cetera. I could read through a million things.
Yeah, and you can vary it for
whatever
the initiative is. This is a speaking engagement,
yep.
But it could be increased sales, increased profit. It could have a number in it. So either way, I think that's a good idea, and we've bounced this off of each other. And I think that if you do those things, you'll have better results because we're really oftentimes praying and hoping that a prospect is going to do to the people they're selling internally the same job that we did with them. So hopefully that gives you some tips.
Great tips, Charles.
Hopefully, we'll see. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get more tips and tricks on improving selling.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for letting me be on this.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.